On this episode of the Rocklopedia Fake Bandica, we skip the green beer of St. Patrick's Day and focus on the fake Irish musicians in 3 John Carney films. And I swear, if Alan mentions Lucky Charms one more time...
Just once.
This is the Rocklopedia Fake Bandica. Welcome to the Rocklopedia Fake Bandica. I'm Charles. There's Alan.
Green clovers.
And there's T. Mike.
Faith and Bacora.
And today is St. Patrick's Day, a Catholic holiday that gets more pagan every year.
Woo!
Because of the holiday, we're going to look at 3 films written and directed by John Carney, which are always filled with wonderful fake bands.
Yes.
But first, any business to discuss?
I just want to point out that I was going to say Gia Dia to everyone, which is how you greet a group of people in Gaelic and Irish Gaelic.
Oh, okay.
And instead, you decided to do the Lucky Charms.
Yes, I had to mention it one more time.
There you go. See, you got burned by your own.
Looking up Gaelic.
So, any other business to discuss?
Well, there's a little bit of fake band news, just in the news, not with us particularly, but
Right.
The tragic passing of Michelle Trachtenberg recently.
Yes.
She played a fictional singer on the HBO show 6 Feet Under.
Right.
And
She was in a lot of other things, too.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And
then
those are the
Gossip Girl.
Gossip Girl, Buffy the Vampire Slayer,
And
Adventures of Pete
Adventure Pete and Pete, which is how I remember her from.
Yes.
from.
6 Feet Under is
she'll
where
always
she-
be Nona F. Mecklenburg
Yes.
from Adventures of Pete and Pete to me,
Yeah.
and especially her dad, Mr. Mecklenburg, played by none other than Iggy Pop.
Yeah. Yeah,
Such a weird show. I loved it.
Yeah, we were just talking about how this is like a reversal of our normal thing, is that these are real musicians playing fake versions of non-musicians.
Yeah.
So until some of them become real musicians or fake musicians again. So yeah.
That's true. So, she passed away, too early, 39.
Yeah,
way,
very young,
way
yeah.
too early.
It's a shame.
Yeah.
So also right now there's a new movie, a fake band movie coming out.
That's right.
It should be out already.
Yeah.
I think, yeah.
It came out on Friday, called Opus, with John Malkovich.
Yeah.
John Malkovich as a rock star is a kind of, you already got me with a wild premise there, because it cannot, I just can't see it. I get that he's been like a recluse for 30 years, and so
Right.
he's finally coming back into the public eye.
And he has his own cult.
He has like
Nice.
he has like his own island, I think, and then an island cult, because that's what you do when you get.
I didn't see it
successful.
this weekend, but I do plan on seeing it here
Oh
soon.
yeah, we'll
Yeah.
see it. We'll definitely get it. Talk about it. So I'm excited for that. That's a good, nice, new, fresh, hot off the presses entry.
Yeah. It
All
does look good enough to make me forget that I was kind of hoping for an Opus the Penguin biopic.
I did hear
Yeah.
that the music was done by, is it Nile Rodgers from Chic?
Oh, really?
So I heard that the
Very
music is
cool.
really good.
Oh, wow.
Don't forget fake bands at vgg.com if you want to tell us about a fake band, or you want to get in login stuff to do the
Or just
database,
ask a question,
Ask a
or
question.
just say hi. You could just say hi.
or request a free book.
Yeah.
that too.
I'm not even going to ask if anyone's requested a free book yet, but if you want
Yeah.
one,
Yeah.
you could do it.
That sounds good.
All right, and I also have one more thing here that I came up with. I think, how we talk about when we're watching these shows, and there's a band that doesn't have a name.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We are the experts on fake bands.
Mhm.
I think we start naming them.
Just invent names.
I think
Yeah.
so.
Out of
If
thin
the
air.
people who created this pop culture did not decide to name the band, we are the experts. We should start naming these bands.
Well, we could just use like some sort of random word band naming generator.
Or
right?
we could
We
use
could do that.
show director's name sucks.
That,
And so-
that could be as well.
Yeah, it could just be like kind of a threat. So if you don't name your band, we will name it embarrassingly.
It could be something that's like a theme in the in the movie or a
Right,
show or
yeah.
whatever you're looking at, kind of thing. But I think we should start, instead of just like, well, they had a band and we didn't name it. We're the experts here,
Okay.
right? We've had over 50 episodes. of
There
this
is
podcast.
nobody better.
So why
nobody
don't-
more qualified
So
than
from
us. You're
now
right.
on,
Mhm.
if there's a band that doesn't have a name, I'm giving it a name.
All right.
And I suggest you guys do it as well.
I can't stop you.
I do think it's funny. Charles is threatening to give them a name when he, in fact, does not enter things into the Wikipedia.
I know. Yeah, I'm not going to. And I'm not going to.
Yeah. Which now has 7,218 entries.
Woo.
So, yeah.
Wow. So, yeah, we name bands from now. Or at least I'm going to.
That sounds good to me.
All right. Now, I know one of you spent some time researching John Carney on Wikipedia. So please tell us a very little, about the man whose works we're discussing today.
Ooh, me. I did the bare minimum. Yeah. Okay, so John Carney is an Irish film director, producer, screenwriter, and lyricist who specializes in musical drama films. He was an actual musician. He was the bassist for the Irish rock band The Frames from 1991 to 1993. He also directed some of their music videos, and he quit the band to pursue filmmaking. He thought, he was already doing all right as a musician, but he if I want to do films, I got to stop now, get out before I go down the music path. And he totally had to start from scratch. So, and he ended up making a lot of low budget films that were all got good critical acclaim. Mm-hmm. And so he's kind of worked his way up, and now he's, making bigger and bigger films that get bigger and bigger money and bigger notice. So.
And we'll talk about his first film that really got him traction. I'll be talking about that this evening.
Great.
Or this morning, depending on when you're listening to this podcast.
Yeah. So in addition to the 3 movies we're talking about today, he also made another fake band movie that's not Irish related. So we're not doing that one. It's the 2013 film Begin Again with Keira Knightley as a singer-songwriter. Kira. Damn it. Kira, I can't pronounce
things. Things don't change.
Keira Knightley as a singer-songwriter and Mark Ruffalo as a struggling record label executive. And he's got a new film coming out this year in 2025 called Power Ballad, which has a rock star and a wedding singer in it. Apparently, there's not a lot of info. They're still making it.
They're still filming it, I believe.
Still filming it, but it supposed to be out this year. So that's a quick turnaround.
It'll be out around November, December, in time for the Academy Awards.
Yes.
Because this was one of my things. I said, best picture for the 2025 is going to have Fake Band did it. Right here. This is one of the possibilities right here.
No pressure there.
Power Ballad could be the one that makes me look like a genius.
And we did say that Begin Again is probably better known than some of the, it was fairly well known, but we didn't include, like T-Mac said, it's set in New York. It's actually set, and actually it's kind of almost a continuation of the film I'll talk about because it's basically the singer-songwriters come to the big city and gets involved with a struggling much older music industry dude. So
so the 3 films we'll be analyzing will be Once from 2007, Sing Street from 2016, and Flora and Son from 2023. So Alan, let's start with Once.
Okay, I will say that my film is cute. It is a cute film. It is not necessarily something up my alley, and actually while watching it I remember thinking this is a weird filmmaking experience because in some of the ways, if you remember a couple weeks ago when we did our 50s show, I talked about the An American in Paris, and there's this long kind of production and dance and singing.
Right. Yeah. Old school musicals were light on plot, heavy on music.
Yeah. And this was very much like that. So it's a fairly simple plot. I mean, it's a nice plot. And actually, I like some of the things that he does with it, but it is fairly simple. And so if you like Glenn Hansard's music in The Frames, you will, or in Glenn Hansard and Marketa Irglova, the 2 mains in this movie, if you like their work in the Swell Season, I think you'll really like this.
Oh, they were in a band together.
They were in the band they called the Swell Season. And in the 2000s. And so he was still in The Frames then, and I think The Frames are still a going concern. I mean, they've been together forever. So but in Ireland, Hansard's a much bigger star than he is here. And so if you read some of the reviews, it's talking about how he's either a love him or hate him kind of thing. And to me, he was fairly unknown except for one little connection that I'll talk about. But and I will say I don't think I'd ever heard Swell Season songs before. They're inoffensive, nice enough films, but songs, but they're not they are what they are. So there is actually a fake band cred here, though. I will say is that Hansard is probably most known in the U.S. for playing Outspan Foster in The Commitments. Movie. Yeah. So I love that movie. I love the novel of pretty much everything Roddy Doyle writes. So he was really good in that. And he looks similar, but he doesn't have the big floppy hair that he did in the movie. And actually another fake band connection, which is a movie that's kind of on the edge of whether we consider it to be a fake band movie, is the Swell Season covered You Ain't Going Nowhere for I'm Not There. which is this very odd Dylan biopic kind of where different actors play him in different stages of his life.
Yeah, but they're all like fictionalized versions of the stage of his life with their own names that aren't, Bob Dylan.
So it's kind of a little bit like the crazy thing that Ronaldo and Clara that T Mike watched with like Dylan playing kind of himself, but also not being named Dylan. So originally, just a little backstory on this movie, which I thought was kind of interesting, is that like I said, this is his first big movie, but it was shot on the cheap. He's really gonna cast Cillian Murphy as, and he's
a big star now.
He's a big star now. He was starting to become a big star, and actually, I thought it was interesting. Cillian Murphy, when he was younger, he and his brother were in a very Beatley band called "The Son of Mr. Green Jeans," which is "The Sons of Mr. Green Jeans" is a song by Frank Zappa, and so they were very close to getting signed, and so he actually had some musical talent, and so Murphy was signed on to produce and star in it, but then he didn't like who they wanted to have. He didn't want to star against Marketa Irglova, who was chosen as the main female lead. And so he didn't think that he could handle the singing. He didn't think that he could handle, because Hansard had already written a lot of the songs. And so he didn't think that he could handle, he didn't have the range for the singing. And he also didn't really want to act opposite of a non-actor. He thought it would be too hard. So he ended up bailing.
Oh, man.
And when he did, all the other producers and all the financing collapsed.
Jeez.
So Carney ended up making this movie for $150,000.
Wow.
Which is nothing.
That's nothing for a movie, an actual movie.
It's incredibly nothing. So we had a tiny crew, a bunch of like budget saving moves. Like there's a party scene, and they actually filmed it in Hansard's actual apartment.
There you go.
They had their friends appear in crowd scenes and just kind of and as extras. And hilariously, when they were shooting in Dublin, for his busking scenes, they didn't get permits, and so they just used a really long lens, so they couldn't tell that was going on, and so they wouldn't get in trouble, and they wouldn't have to pay for licensing permits and everything like that.
Yeah.
So,
guerrilla techniques.
Yeah. So Hansard even mentioned this in his Oscar speech, that they shot it with 2 handy cams, and now he's on the stage getting this award for the best song, and so
the song that he was busking ended up being the best song.
It wasn't when he was busking scene, he was playing another song, but so he for the song that appears in the movie, he actually
wow.
And famously, her
Carney seems to do a great job with low budgets, though.
He
seems to be his thing.
Famously, Jon Stewart actually asked Irglova back up on stage to give her speech because she got cut off. So which was really kind of obnoxious. She got played off, so he let her come up, and it was a very nice little speech. So
that's great.
The movie is very odd, like I said, but it really clicked with people. I mean, it was made for $150,000, and it made $23.3 million.
Oh man.
So that's good ROI.
Like seriously.
That is.
Cillian Murphy's wishing he left his money in that.
Seriously, yeah. So Hansard plays this busker. He's like playing on the streets of Dublin, and it looks like he's playing on Grafton Street, because they have a shot of the guy from Thin Lizzy, his little statue there. So
he has a statue for a guy from Thin Lizzy?
Really?
Yeah, because they were Irish.
Okay. Yeah, just
I would not have thought of that.
I'll have to very quickly Google his name, because I cannot remember his name. But
I don't think you need to.
Yeah, I think I'm going to already. I'm going.
It's like if we have a statue in Raleigh for the Connells, right?
Yeah,
that would be kind of cool, really. I'd donate money.
Phil Lynott. Yeah, was his name. But anyway,
maybe that's why they did it in Ireland, the Thin Lizzy one, because they thought it'd be cool.
Yeah. So anyway,
so Thin Lizzy is the Connells of Ireland, is what I understand.
Oh yes. So this tweaker comes up, and he's like clearly going to steal his money, and then he ends up, saying like, "I'm watching you." It's like, "I'm not going to steal. I'm just tying my shoes." And he does steal the guitar case with the money. Hansard runs off and gives his guitar as he's running to a passerby to hold, which I was like, that's an odd choice.
Bold move.
He ends up chasing down the tweaker, and he then reveals that he knows the busker's name. And he knows the tweaker's name, and he actually gives him a £5 note, and then, or I guess it'd be €5 at that point. And then there is this long solo by the busker playing one of his original songs, and it's at night. And I remember thinking this was really odd, because you don't see a lot of buskers on Grafton Street at night, but the deal is during the day.
I thought the rule was that for nighttime busking, it had to be a saxophone.
Oh, that would be good. Yes,
I thought that was the rules. Like only saxophone players at night Every other thing else during the day.
And it has to be that the solo sax from that Wham song.
Yeah. Exactly.
Anyway, no, he mentions to this woman who comes up that he only plays his originals at night, and that she doesn't. So she said, "I've never noticed you before." When he's like, he plays covers for the for the paying customers at night. He plays his originals, and so she gives him 10 cents, and he kind of makes his like snarky about it.
Yeah.
But then you notice that she's selling the big issue, which is that magazine for homeless people.
Well, it's not. It's distributed by the homeless, not for the homeless.
That's for the homeless. Yeah.
So they could have something to sell to make money.
Yeah, it's a fundraising thing.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, all right, like maybe don't snark at the 10 cents, you know. So, but
does he have a name?
No, he's Guy.
He's just Guy.
He's Guy and she's Girl. Yeah.
Wow.
And, yeah.
Okay.
So they chat about music, and he mentions that this is not his day job, and that actually he sells. He repairs vacuum cleaners in his dad's shop, and that and she just mentions, I happen to have a broken vacuum.
Oh, wow. How about that?
So then they go and get tea, and they're chatting, and she mentions, I happen to be a musician too. Whoa, there's a lot of this kind of question. But while they go to get tea, she actually has brought her vacuum in for him to repair. So one of my favorite shots of the movie is they're just walking through the streets of Dublin, and she's like with this canister vac, and it's just trailing along behind her, and it's such a like
on its little wheels.
It's such an odd little shot, but it's so fun. And I think the Carney realizes how funny it is, because there's a lot of these long tracking shots of them just walking through the crowd hauling this vacuum. So they go to a music store, and she plays Mendelssohn's Song Without Words on piano, and then he teaches her Falling Slowly, which was the song that won the Academy Award. And it sounds like this.
I don't know you, but I want you all the more for that. And words fall through me and always fool me, and I can't react.
And so it's a nice scene.
Nice. Yeah.
And it is, one of the things I thought was interesting was that this is kind of when the songs that I feel like won Best Oscar, like, stop being Oscar songs. Like, before then you had like, Can You Feel the Love Tonight? My Heart Will Go On, Up Where We Belong. They were very schmaltzy and kind of like
bigger
songs. Yeah.
And then it was like, wasn't Elliott Smith winning for Miss Misery?
Yeah. And I think there's like, it felt like this was when kind of like the palette kind of like expanded a little bit. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So I don't think that this movie did it, but it was just kind of like at this time you start seeing this. And so, but his story is that, and he tells her, is that he wrote most of his songs for his ex that cheated on him. And he tells her this on the bus, and he does it via this song, Broken-Hearted Hoover Fixer Sucker Guy, which is such a great title.
Oh, broken-hearted Hoover Fixer Sucker Guy. Oh, broken-hearted Hoover Fixer Sucker Guy. One day I'll go there and win her once again, but until then I'm just a sucker of a guy.
Okay.
All right.
There's clearly this attraction starts growing, but he decides that he's going to chase his ex and move to London, and that, she's going to, and then...
Don't do it.
And then while they're talking, she mentions that she actually has a husband back in the Czech Republic.
Don't do it. What?
And
so he talks for a while, and then she says like he's like talks about, I fix vacuums. And then after a while, when he stops talking, she goes, I have a broken vacuum. Yeah. And then he talks about being a musician and everything. And then she'll still
I'm a musician.
I'm a musician. And then he's like, I'm going to chase my ex. And then I have a husband.
Not quite that clunky, but yeah. It's just kind of when these data points come out, know. So yeah, so she's teaching him some Czech, and he asks her, do you love him? And she says back, Nor ho tebe, which means no, I love you, but it's not translated in his world. So you only get it through the subtitles. And
he doesn't know.
He doesn't know. And so apparently that was actually something Carney had her do. And his confusion in that moment is real, because he's like, kind of like, what the hell? Like,
right.
You're supposed to be translating this. So then they go, and there's this very odd scene where they go in and they're trying to get a loan to record a demo because before he leaves, he wants to record a demo of his songs and he wants her to play with him and they can do some of the songs they've worked on together. So they're going to go get a loan to record a demo. They go in the bank and they're all dressed up and the loan officer is talking to them. And then he goes like, well, let me show you something. And then he gets out and he starts playing them a song on the guitar.
The loan officer.
The loan officer does.
So does he get an entry? Did he get a name?
I think
Johnny Loan Officer?
I think it's just the loan officer. Charles will have to name him.
The loan officer.
Frederick von Weaselbutt.
All right,
That's a very Irish name.
I'm new at this. Yeah. I just made the proclamation.
We put you on the spot. It's not fair.
Maybe Seamus O'Weaselbutt.
Seamus O'Clingahan.
It doesn't really add to the plot, but it's funny, you know.
Okay.
They get a bunch of other buskers to contribute, and they go.
What, they didn't get the loan.
No, they did get the loan.
Oh, they did.
Yeah,
okay,
but they still need a band.
That's hilarious to me, though, that they actually got a loan by going up and going, yeah, we want to record a demo. How as often does that work? But the guy was a frustrated musician, so we let him out. So
they get a bunch of these buskers, and then they go in and they play us one song, and the engineer who's seen it all, he's like totally like stock character. He goes, nice. You know, it's kind of like, oh yeah, you know, like you've
impressed the jade.
Yeah, they've won him over. And so they go and they record all these songs, and they're all night recording. And
it was a whole album here.
At one point, she goes away and she playing on the piano, and she says that this is a song that she wanted to play for a guy. So girl is talking to a guy. She wrote this for her husband, but her husband didn't like it. And so they go and they have this long hug, and there's this like very much like this tension, but then the guy says, you know, why don't you go to London with me? And so she was like, okay, well, you know, we'll see. And then after they finish recording that morning, she tells him that actually her husband is coming back. He's going to come from the Czech Republic to Ireland.
Oh.
The last little bit is he goes off to London, but before he leaves, he goes to the piano store, the music store where they played piano, and he taught her Falling Slowly. And so they've been struggling for cash on this thing.
They got a loan to put together a song.
Yeah.
He's
or an album.
on the road.
Yeah.
And recording.
And so he goes to this music store, and then he like kind of talks to them, and then they show him in the airport and whatever, and it's revealed that he's bought her a piano.
Okay.
We're not talking like one of the little like keyboard on like an actual like upright piano.
A full upright piano.
Even used, they're expensive.
Yeah.
And so
Wow. Okay.
Where did this money come from? So his dad,
you got to pay to get it moved. You can't like move those things.
There's a great sweet scene they had movers there. There's a great sweet scene with his dad where he plays him the demo, and his dad's like, basically, I'm proud of you, and now here's some money you get set up in London.
That's nice.
Like, did he blow all that money? Like, where
probably. That's my bet there.
So anyway, I do like they don't end up together, because it's kind of like that'd be the kind of classic Hollywood ending. They have their moment together. There's this attraction. They go. The thing is that actually in real life, Hansard and Erglova did get together. So they were, he was 37 and she was 19.
Oh.
They'd met 6 years before, so he'd known her since she was 13.
That's not better.
That's not better. No,
but it did start when she was 13, I hope, right?
No, they started when she was 19 when they made the movie. He'd just known her for 6 years. So yeah. So they were together for several years. They were in the swell season. They ended up breaking up. He got married and whatever. But one of the things that this movie was such a big hit, it was so well received that it actually was adapted for a Broadway play. And
a play, or you mean a musical?
Broadway musical. Stage musical
all the time.
Yeah,
now. I don't.
So it became a stage musical. And in the original cast, Guy was played by Steve Kazee, who has Fake Band Connection, or KZ. I'm not sure how to pronounce it. He appeared as the singer-songwriter Riff Bell during season 4 of Nashville.
Oh.
Which, once again, I'll make a note. We need to do a damn
we got to do a show on Nashville.
Yeah, watch it.
We'll do it after we do the Star is Born episode.
Okay.
So,
We'll get to it all.
Then Girl was played by Kristen Milioti, who you may know as the mother from How I Met Your Mother. So in the last episode, if you watch that show. But I was much more excited to see, when I saw a picture of her, recognize who she was. She was Abby Flynn.
Right.
From 30 Rock.
Yeah.
So this is a shout out for you, Tom, that she was the sexy baby on 30 Rock.
And the whole sexy baby thing isn't an act. I'm a very a sexy baby.
She was the stand-up comedian who does all the baby talk and weird kind of sexuality kind of parts that would drive people, drive guys crazy. Until finally you find out that she was a really smart comedian running from her
abusive husband. Yeah.
And she got outed by Liz Lemon.
Yeah. It was on the episode TGS Hates Women, I believe.
Yes.
Yeah. So once big hit, very successful. Award-winning. And this really made it possible for him to go on and do his future films because the if you look at the budgets for the next few films, which you guys will talk about, they are extremely much bigger than $150,000. Yeah. But it's worth seeing. It's a cute movie. It's especially if you like the music. If you like the music, it would be a treat, I think. I had not really ever listened to them very much, and so it's fine.
Okay. Cool. Well, good. Okay. So the next movie would be Sing Street. Right, T-Mike?
Yes, me. Pick me, teacher. Me.
Okay, you.
All right, yes. So Sing Street is a 2016 musical coming-of-age dramedy film, which was written and directed by John Carney. It did fairly well. Mm-hmm. I think it was made for under $1 million, turned a profit about $7 million or so. So it did well. It's got a 95% approval rating on Rotten Tomatoes. It's been nominated for a lot of critics awards, not like the big ones, but like smaller city critics and awards. There's won a few.
I think it got an Oscar. It didn't get nominated for Oscar for Best Song, but I don't think it won.
It did not win. No, it didn't win. So Carney, there's all these original songs in the movie, and Carney co-wrote them with this guy named Gary Clark, who was in the 1980s pop band called Danny Wilson, which is kind of a hilarious name.
All right, I think that they work together on my movie, that Flora and Son.
So these are like his regular collaborators here. So let's see. Gary Clark was also in the bands King L and a band called Transistor. Also, he worked with Ken and Carl Pappenfuss of the band Relish, which is another Irish band. And then Adam Levine of Maroon 5 also wrote an original song for the film called Go Now, but that was just the end credits song.
So turn it off before the end credits start?
Yes. Okay. Right when the end credits start, just shut it down. All right. So the film is set in Dublin, circa 1984, 1985. And it starts with a troubled lad strumming his guitar as his parents bitterly argue off screen. So bitterly argue. And this is our protagonist. His name is Connor Lawler. He's played by Ferdia Wash Pilo, a -8. So his family got dad. His dad is played by Aidan Gillen. Littlefinger from Game of Thrones. Peter Baelish. He looks exactly like he did in Game of Thrones. He didn't change his facial hair, nothing. He's like wearing a sweater vest. That's the only thing that's different.
Not wearing pelts and stuff.
No. He looks like he just walked off the set. Anyway, so mom is played by Maria Doyle Kennedy, who was in The Commitments. Yeah. She was backup singer Natalie Murphy in The Commitments. So that's another Commitments connection with Carney here. So let's see. Connor's older brother is college dropout Brendan, played by Jack Rayner, and his sister Anne is Kelly Thornton, who we can ignore because she's barely in the film. So anyway, 1945, hard times in England. So
how about in Ireland?
Sorry, yes. Can we do?
All right, colonizer.
Hard times in Ireland. At you. Damn it.
Okay, go.
Hard times in Ireland. So mom and dad transfer Connor to a cheaper school. He was going to like a Jesuit school. Now he has to go to the Sing Street Christian Brothers School, which is a real school. This is an actual school. John Carney went to this actual school, and where he actually formed a band, and before he was in the real Dublin band, The Frame. So it's partly autobiographical here. And in fact, he had a hilarious quote about the school where they asked him, "Well, what was it like to come back to the school after so many years?" And he said, "Well, it's kind of like having been a prisoner in Alcatraz, and then you come back, and now it's like a tourist attraction." So.
Wow.
So Sing Street School sucks. It's an all-boys school, but you could swear it was an all-bullies school. It's just grim. It's depressing. There's all these fights. The teachers can't get out. You've got no control over any of these kids. As soon as their back is turned, they're doing something. And in charge, though, is hard-ass brother Baxter, played by Don Wycherley. And I thought he was Michael Keaton for a minute. He looks a lot like Michael Keaton. It was kind of weird. Anyway, so Baxter even punishes Connor for wearing brown shoes. They have a black shoes only policy. Baxter makes him take off the brown shoes, leave him at the office. He can go sock foot all day, stomp through puddles, and he'll get him back at the end of the day till he gets black shoes. So he's just a hard ass. He's not like, we don't like this guy. Yeah.
That's a weird hill to die on. Okay.
Anyway, we also meet the bully, Barry Bray, played by Ian Kenny. And Ian Kinney was not only in the Sing Street movie, he was in the TV series Hope Street. So it's 2 streets.
Do they connect?
No,
They
don't cross. They're parallel.
There's no
They're parallel.
intersection
They never touch. They don't cross. Anyway, so I'm hoping for he'll be in some 3rd Street movie. I don't know. We also meet another student named Darren Mulvey, played by Ben Carolan. He's a hustling fellow student, but he's got like a hustle. He wants to have some side gigs and stuff. So the whole band thing starts when Connor sees some hot girl hanging out across the street from the school. And for some unexplained, unknown reason they never get into, she does this every day. Okay. She just stands out on the steps in front of wherever she is. So anyway, this is Rafina, played by Lucy Boynton. And so Connor gets up the nerve to go and talk to her and, chats with her. And she mentions she's a model. So he just blurts out that, maybe you'd like to be in the video my band is putting together. He just lies. He just straight up lies to her face. It just falls out of his mouth.
Don't discount lying. We got the Van Goghs came together because I've gotten jobs because of that. It's like, do you know HTML? Yes, I know HTML. Of course I do this.
It was his roommate for 2 years.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So.
Yeah, so she buys it. She totally buys it. She gives him her phone number, and now he has to go form that band.
Huh?
That is, though, that is very similar to how we started as our group. Because it was an Easter holiday, and Jason Torchinsky in our group, he was a columnist for the Daily Tar Heel, humor columnist.
And did stand up.
And somebody approached him saying, hey, some kids don't get to go home for Easter, so we thought we would put together a show for them. Hey, you probably do some stand-up and stuff. Do you think you know anybody else? And she's like, yeah. I know people. We can do sketches and all this stuff. And they're like, well, great. You do the show.
He's
like, all right, we'll do the show. And then he starts making calls and he starts calling all of us like, hey.
I think he called you first, didn't he?
I think he called. Yeah. I think he called me first, and then he called
Rob. I think
Rob.
Yeah, Rob called me and Galen, and then eventually we got around to Alan.
And then Alan came later.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was just like, yeah, we have a show. We do it all the time. We sketch comedy all the time.
Yeah, I remember first there was no Alan, then there was an Alan.
Well,
then there isn't.
Then
there was an Alan again.
Yes. Then I was a plant in the audience actually during one of the early shows.
Right.
So, yeah. So they had to.
Good time.
You sat in a wheelchair. I remember.
I sat in a wheelchair and I yelled out suggestions for the quote unquote improv.
Right.
Basically sketches that were already written, and we just had to get the right suggestions.
Now there were no models, and I want to bring this up now that we should have waited for the models.
We should have waited anyway. So he's got to impress this model. So Connor goes to our hustler guy Darren for help. Darren takes Connor to Eamon, played by Mark McKenna, and Eamon. This is a point where you have to push real hard into that willing suspension of disbelief, because Eamon's dad is in a cover band. Oh. And so Eamon's dad has all the gear they could need.
Nice.
And Eamon is a multi-instrumentalist. He can play it all. They show him playing bass, guitar, drums, keyboards, recorder, xylophone, and they can use all of their dad's stuff and rehearse at his house because his dad is off in rehab. So he doesn't beat them anymore and, be an alcoholic. So, you kind of hate to say it, but this is a big win for chronic alcoholism here, kind of.
Okay.
But yeah, no, so free instruments, free rehearsal space, free talented multi-instrumentalist who really likes writing songs with Connor. And free snacks. Mom brings free snacks. They got it all. Anyway, I love Eamon. Eamon's great. My favorite character, even if I can't pronounce his name.
So for this podcast, I'm your favorite character.
Sure, why not?
Because I have the free snacks.
You do.
You are. Where we are.
The snacks are top-notch, quality snacks. So next, they get the idea to ask the only black kid in the school to join the band. Because racism, basically, and it turns out he wasn't born there, but he's lived there almost his entire life. His name is Nagig, played by Percy Chambaruka, and he joins the band on keyboards, thankfully, and not the bass. Which, I mean, if you've seen that, there's a whole South Park episode. about that.
There is. Yeah.
Anyway, so actually, interestingly, Chambaruka later went into music and is now rapper Jafaris. He's a real rapper now. So anyway, they put up a flyer and they get the 2 final members, Gary and Larry, played by Carl Rice and Connor Hamilton. And they're the
twins?
No, they're just they're already friends who play together. So they're
named the same.
They're drums and bass. And Darren is the manager now. So, so now all the pieces are in place. And the other interesting thing is that all these kids are newcomers. These are all people who haven't been in anything. And in fact, they're all mostly musician kids who hadn't really acted before. But they all do a really good job, and Eamon especially. And so they do a good job of like showing Connor's not that good a singer at the beginning. Because Connor was like, you see him playing guitar, but he, Eamon's got that covered. Eamon's already decided I'm playing guitar. He doesn't even bother. He's like, no, I'll sing and songwrite. Yeah, that's what I'll do. But he does. And they actually, the show he's not a good singer, but he gets better and better. They also, before they come up with the name, first they try the Rabbits, because Eamon actually has a lot of pet rabbits. And then somebody suggests La Vie. And then Eamon comes up with Sing Street because it's a play on the school where they go. So, yeah. So, because in the actual school, it's spelled Synge.
Yeah.
So, anyway, so they work on a cover of Duran Duran's Rio, which they had been watching earlier in the movie. And Connor and his brother Brendan are all like really impressed with this video and the band. And anyway, so they record it, and Connor takes it back to Brendan. Brendan hears it, and he hates it. He says, "No, this is terrible." He rips the tape apart. He stomps on it. He's like, "No, right?" But he's got good advice. Write your own songs. And he gives Brendan gives Connor a crash course in rock, roll, and songwriting. So is
he an expert? Is he in a band? Or?
No, but we find out a little bit later, but he's like got tons of records. He's like obviously heavy into music.
Right.
So he can give this advice.
Oh yeah. He's like, we gotta listen to this, we gotta listen to this. He's got like, almost like, a stack of albums for homework for him. And so they write their first original song called The Riddle of the Model.
On the corner, like an angel in disguise. And as I look a little closer, she's got dangerous eyes. Tells me she's a model, I'll bet that's her reputation. She's hiding in a bottle, but there's a stipulation. She's so indecipherable. She holds the key to the missing code.
She's a model.
Yeah.
She's a model.
And they don't know a lot about her, so she's a riddle. And they actually made a point when the interviews that like this was like the perfectly pretentious title an actual teenager would come up with for a song. So they finally get that down really well. And I don't know how much time has passed, but finally they have the song on tape. Connor goes over to Rafina, asks her to be in the video shoot that Saturday, on super short notice, and she actually shows up. She actually shows up for the video they're going to shoot in the alley with whatever Halloween costumes they had laying around, and the song was just that good. She's like, I'm here because of the song, because also it's about her, which is nice. So she helps them with their makeup and their costumes. I was a little impressed because Connor actually has storyboards. He's not just bumbling around. He has a vision for this video because he's been studying Duran Duran, so he's got something there. So.
Also, like, wasn't the original version of Rio like 23 minutes long, and it was extra? Yeah, I'm serious. Like the original video.
The video, but not the actual song.
Not the actual song. No, I don't think there's enough to Rio to last about 23 minutes. That would
She's still dancing in the sand.
Still dancing. Anyway,
just like she did 15 minutes ago.
I think the tide's coming up now.
So after the shoot, Connor takes her home, only for Rafina's boyfriend to show up. A little bit like your movie, Alan.
Sad trombone.
Yes.
Yep. And it's her older boyfriend who's got his own car. He's blasting Genesis out and everything. They peel off.
What era of Genesis?
Probably new Genesis.
It's 1985.
So current Genesis. Okay, yeah.
So anyway, we also find out that her home is actually the Kerwin Home for Girls, an actual orphanage in Dublin. Because it turns out her dad's dead and her mom is in and out of hospitals, mental hospitals. So Brendan is really supportive of Connor now. He's encouraging him on both the songwriting and the girl getting. And I have this one great quote. Connor tells him that, don't worry about this other boyfriend because, quote, no woman can truly love a man who listens to Phil Collins.
He's not wrong.
No. Phil Collins is disrespected too much.
He is, and he's totally dissed in the movie here. Sorry.
And he was married, so some woman listened to Phil Collins.
Anyway, so Connor writes another song with Eamon.
He doesn't listen to his own stuff, though. Famously.
Connor writes another song with Eamon for Rafina called Up.
Across the street on a grayed out Monday, I see the girl with the eyes I can't describe, and suddenly it's a perfect Sunday, and everything is more real than life. I think I'm back in the dream. I think I'm back on the ceiling. It's such a beautiful feeling going up. She lights me up. She breaks me up.
So now we know that Rafina is obviously Connor's muse. And so the next day, though, Connor goes to school with bleached bangs and makeup on because, you know, the new romantics kind of look.
That's a good thing when you're being bullied.
Yeah.
You really want to stand out. Get
Yeah,
that-
yeah.
Exactly.
So he
Make me the tallest nail on the board. You know?
he immediately gets called to Brother Baxter's office, and Connor points out, you know, I went through all the rules. There's no rule against wearing makeup. And Baxter's like, yeah, no, it doesn't matter. Wash it off. And then and he Connor goes, no, I'm going to go to class, and Baxter grabs him in the hall, runs him into the bathroom, and forces him to wash it, shoves his face in a sink full of water, holds it there for a few seconds. It's it's pretty
sink
bad.
swirly, essentially.
Yeah, but anyway, it's a nasty bit of business. But anyway, so we go back to Connor and Rafina, and she tells him that she and her boyfriend are off again, on again, which gives them hope because they're currently off. And she talks about love and how love is happy, sad. You know, there's the happy, sad, and her life is kind of happy, sad, and she wants to go to London.
The wisdom of the 16-year-old.
Yes, well, she wants to go to London, like your guy in your film, and she asks him for another song. So, and they hug. Aw. So he talks to Brendan, and he brings up the whole happy, sad thing. And Brendan says, "You want happy, sad? Here's happy, sad." Throws him the Cure album, "The Head on the Door" from 1985.
Yeah.
So because of that, now the entire band have dyed their hair black.
Oh, they just changed their every.
Wow.
Come on.
I mean,
stick with something.
Except for Nick Gig. Nick Gig didn't dye his hair black because that'd be superfluous. So now they're making another video with Rafina for that song the song she asked for, which is called "To Find You."
You were staring at your bedroom wall with only ghosts beside you. Somewhere out where the wind was calling, I was on my way to find you. I was on my way to find you.
And so they want to shoot the video at the ocean, and part of the plot which is kind of hilarious because Connor's idea was to have.
Was there a North African with a gun and an Arab there?
No.
Okay, just trying to keep the Cure thing going. So.
No, so they're at the docks, and the plot he wanted for the movie is that the girl jumps into the ocean in the end because she wants to kill herself. And Rafina's idea is no, she's really a mermaid, and she's going to jump in the ocean and go back to her mermaid life. And she's like, my idea is much better.
Oh.
So she actually jumps into the ocean. They were going to fake it, but it was going to look bad. But for art, she jumps in. She can't even swim. She jumps in. Connor has to pull her out and save her, and they kiss. And then
or is it mouth to mouth because she jumped in and couldn't swim?
No, it's just a kiss. But he immediately ruins it by asking about what about her boyfriend. So yeah, he's an idiot. Anyway, so now they watch the music video for Spandau Ballet's song "Gold," and they change their look again.
Oh God!
How do they have this money for this budget?
Well, I guess she's helping with the makeup. That's all I can figure. Anyway, so now they find out the school's having an end of term dance, and so they get the gig. They're going to play like a half-hour set. But first, Connor takes Rafina out on his grandfather's little boat that the family has inherited. Why it didn't get sold? Because they need money. Maybe it's too crappy. I don't know. Anyway, you go out on this nice little date, more kissing, blah blah blah. But then more drama. Connor's parents announced they're getting divorced. Only you can't actually get divorced in Ireland at this time, so it's what's called a separation. So mom's going to go live with her boss, Tony, she fell in love with. Mom and dad are going to sell the house. The kids will live in the apartment the dad will rent, and they'll switch back and forth, except that Brendan's like, hell no, I'm not living with Tony. Anyway, so the weird thing is that even though Brendan's first reaction to the announcement is, finally!
Oh God.
He still gets worked up about it with Connor later, and he has sort of like a crisis in a way, because he talks to Connor about how he used to play guitar really well, and he could run faster than anybody, and now he feels like he's washed up in his early 20s after dropping out of college, and then and here's you doing all this stuff, And you don't appreciate, like, I was the oldest. I had to deal with, crappy brand new parents, mom and dad screaming all the time for 6 years till you came along. I blazed a trail through this family for you that, I walked so you could fly kind of thing. So he's a little jealous.
What does that have to do with anything? With this?
Right, it's just a big point, dramatic point in the film. So Connor goes to the orphanage to see Rafina, but finds out she went to London with her boyfriend. Only they didn't actually do that. They didn't go after all. He didn't actually have a ticket or the money. They had a big fight. They broke up. And then weirdly, now that the way his path is perfectly clear for Connor, he kind of like shuts down and goes off because he's like, ugh. Anyway, so the only thing to do, though, is, of course, go write another song with Eamon because they need enough songs for that half-hour set at the end of term dance anyway. So and then there's this wonderful turn here where part of the band goes to see Barry, the bully. They actually go to his apartment where he lives. And while his drunken parents are screaming in the background, having a knockdown fight, they offer him a job as roadie and bouncer.
Oh, that's why I was like, why would they go pick up the bully?
Yeah.
He takes it because he is like,
get me out of the house.
He wants to get the hell out of here. He doesn't want, and he's already flunking out of school. I mean, they show him like in the final exams there, and he's just like looks at his paper and just crumples it up, throws it away, and puts his head on his desk.
They're not paying for this roadie.
No, but it's like they're not making money either. But they're like, this is your chance.
You can drop out of school.
It's a chance.
To be a high school band's roadie.
He's not going to drop out. He's going to get kicked out at the end of this season.
To another, right?
Yeah, I guess so.
Anyway, so finally it's the end of the term dance night, and Connor wants, of course, to shoot another damn video with Rafina. Anyway, but where is she now? So they want to do. The song is called "Drive It Like You Stole It." Pretty catchy, I thought. And this is actually the best whole musical sequence in the film because we hear Connor describing what he wants, which is he wants to do this, have you seen Back to the Future with the prom? He wants to do like a big old school, like 1950s American prom style thing. And he's like, trying to get the, his fellow girl students to like, can you guys dance like in the 1950s? And they're like staring at him like, what? And so, but the whole shot starts turning. They start playing the song. It turns into like this whole big fantasy sequence, and it turns into the video he has in his head, where everything is like beautifully costumed and makeup, and everything looks like Back to the Future prom scene, and it's really well done. It's just a wonderful part of the film. It's kind of like the highlight of the film for me. So they play some other songs. We're not gonna play clips of them all. They play a song called "Girls," a song called "The Beautiful Sea," which is very Cure, like the Cure. And "To Find You Again." And then they announce at the end of the show that they're going to end with a song for Brother Baxter.
Oh.
But they announced that like chumps, and Brother Baxter is like, yeah, no, I see where this is going. So he runs over, turns on the lights, and he goes like, show's over, people. But here's where Barry steps up. Barry proves his worth. He runs over, he starts flipping the lights back off every time he turns them on. And this goes on for a few flicks, and then Barry grabs a fire extinguisher and smashes the light switches.
Wow.
And I'm just like, damn, Barry.
When you need a jerk, you get yourself a jerk.
You got to find the natural outlet for his jerkitude. Anyway,
the weird thing is that in Don Wycherley's fake band connection, he was Father Cyril McDuff in Father Ted. He was this very
okay. So he's played another father.
He is very dim-witted priest who's like kind of sweet, and so it's
he's a real jackass here.
He's really playing both ends of the corn. Yeah.
So now they go into a song called Brown Shoes. And also they snuck in masks that they photocopied like a picture of Brother Baxter's face. And so now everybody is wearing Brother Baxter masks, which is hilarious. And they play this song called Brown Shoes.
Who the hell are you to tell me what to do? You wear a dress and tell me not to wear brown shoes. You think you're man enough to wash the makeup off my face right now. But don't you know the bigger that they are, the harder they fall. And the boots on the other foot now, buckle up, we're taking you down. See your curtains falling, so take your bow.
Yeah, it's such a budget.
I know, seriously.
costume changes and masks.
Yeah.
Well, maybe they cut it out of his album, No Clerical Collar Required. You know,
Are you making fun of Phil Collins again? I will not have
Phil Collins
this.
again. Yeah, that was Charles's best Halloween costume.
Yeah.
Excellent.
So anyway, now they've burned that whole bridge down to like ashes and cinders. So but Rafina shows up at the last minute. She gets to watch them do the last song there. Rafina and Connor get together and reconcile. They go to Brendan, and because they want Brendan to drive them back down to the harbor in the middle of the night, because they're going to run off in Granddad's little boat to England, and they sail.
Wow.
They sail off happily ever after into the sunset. Except, it's nighttime, so they're
Anyway, somebody's got a sunset. They went that direction.
The end.
Oh, all right.
Wow. Yeah, it was kind of like, really, wow. Okay, so they're going to take their songs and her, model portfolio, and fingers crossed, they have no money, no nothing, but they got a boat. And they're kind of,
Good luck, you.
Yeah, good luck,
kids.
you crazy
Wow.
kids. Anyway, so kind of a weird ending there, but yeah. This film also got turned into a stage musical.
What?
But nowhere near the level
Is
of...
mine about to be a stage musical?
Apparently, it's nowhere near the level of success. I mean, it premiered in Boston in 2022 after being delayed by COVID for 2 years, and it has all the songs from the film plus a few more they wrote for the musical. But it's going to run some more, but it's not on Broadway.
All right. So we've had 2 cute movies,
Mm-hmm.
and when we come back from the break, we'll have one more cute movie, Flora and Son.
Alrighty.
This is the Rocklopedia Fake Bandicoot. Our story, like so many great stories before it, begins in Dublin, because I guess that's where John Carney lives. We're talking about Flora and Son. It's the story of a mother and son who fix their rocky relationship and connect through music. And that's the big premise, the big theme of this movie, is that music helps connect the world.
Yeah. Well, kind of, and the same for our movies. Music connected these kids, and connected the guy and girl, which kind of kills me. It feels like a real film school kind of move.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, it
hello,
was
I'm
one
Johnny.
of his first ones. So
Yeah, it was an early movie. Yeah.
Okay, so Flora is played by Eve Hewson, who happens to be the daughter of U2 lead singer Bono.
Oh, wow.
I didn't know that.
So while she's mainly an actress, she does come by her musical abilities naturally. So Flora is 31 and acts much younger, going to dance clubs all the time and hooking up with random guys. And her only job is a part-time mother's helper work that she can get, and where she's not above sneaking some extra money from an open purse as she's leaving.
Oh, geez.
I was like, is this like a euphemism for she's a druggie? Or like mother's little helper?
Mother's helper. No, it's like a babysitter.
Yeah, mother's helper. Yeah. Okay.
She has a son named Max, who's played by Oren Kinlan. He's 14. So yeah, Flora had him really young.
Oof.
We first meet him when the two of them are having a meeting with the police officer. It's part of a program to try to catch kids before they become lifelong criminals. Max is right on that edge.
Oh, jeez.
He's been caught stealing a few times, and one more sends him out of this program and into juvenile detention. The cop brings up, hey, why don't you try boxing or cycling clubs or something like that? This isn't a bad idea for most kids trying to burn off this energy.
Yeah.
Max, not interested. No. I don't want to ride a bike. No. I could just fight in the streets. I don't need to go to a boxing club. I don't need this stuff.
Kids today, I tells you.
So one day on the way home from her babysitting job, Flora sees an old guitar in a dumpster. She gets the idea that I'll fix it up for Max and maybe he can find music as an outlet that he needs.
Woohoo,
So she
free guitar.
grabs it out of the trash. I'm sure. Have you found a guitar in a dumpster, T. Mike?
Yes.
So you know what this is like.
Yes.
Okay. Did you get it refurbished?
No.
Oh, well, she got it refurbished. So
Good
she's
for
one up
her.
on you there. And she gives it to Max for his birthday present. Well, his day after his birthday present, she seemed to have missed his birthday. Max sees it. He's like, it's rubbish. I want nothing to do with that. Now, if his grandfather was the Edge and not Bono, maybe he takes the guitar. I'm just saying. But no, he's like, no, I don't want that. It's garbage. Get that out of here.
More stealing for me.
Exactly. So now Flora has to drop Max off for time with his dad. His dad is Ian Mulvey, who's played by Jeremy Rayner from Sing Street.
Ah, okay.
He used to be the bass player for the band Indigo Void.
Oh, that's a good name.
Okay.
He brings up his band once shared a building with Snow Patrol, which Flora says, yeah, I remember. It's why we have Max. And I'm going to say right now, I'm going to say Fiona and Flora constantly. Every time I type Flora, Fiona came up. So it's going to happen. Just like that, it's going to happen. Just if I say Fiona, it's Flora.
Okay.
All right. So Flora is on her own for the night, and she spends it drinking wine and watching American Idol. I didn't know that they watched American Idol in Ireland.
I mean, they have like Irish Idol, I think.
But this was American, unless they had the same judges, because Lionel Richie was there, and the country guy was there, and Katy Perry was there.
I think maybe they have it, flown in.
I don't know.
Or beamed in.
I'm saying it was American Idol. Oh, but yeah, they beamed to the show. That could. So she hears all the Ryan Seacrest kind of platitudes about dreams can start here and stuff like that. And she sees the acoustic guitar, and she's like, you know what? I'm going to learn how to play that guitar. Because right now her motivation is half trying to find something that's missing in her life, and half out of spite so she could rub it in Max's face that she got good at it.
Yeah, good for her.
So at this point, we get a nice, wonderful montage of YouTube guitar teachers and all their wackiness.
Right, yeah.
Isn't that really wonderful, Charles?
Huh?
The montage of YouTube videos really wonderful.
It was pretty fun. She's going through it.
Okay.
And you see all these random characters, and I'm assuming some of them are real people.
Oh, yeah?
I don't think they were all actors. I don't know for certain. But you hear them talking about, their philosophy of music, and then there are all the sound effects going around them, and all the different, like this guy plays metal, and this guy does something else. And she's just looking through all of them going, these are all just, goofballs.
Yeah, not for her.
Eventually, she finds Jeff, who's played by Joseph Gordon-Levitt.
Oh, he's great.
Yeah. He's a musician from Los Angeles who sells guitar lessons for $20 a pop.
Online.
Right, online.
Yeah, because she's Los Angeles. Double.
Right, exactly. She's not going to go to Los Angeles for a lesson.
Yeah, no.
Right.
It's only $20 though.
A little more than $20 if she does that.
That's your problem. That's travel expenses. That's on you.
Okay, so the next day, there's some activity in front of the housing complex they live in. There's a rapper who's filming a cheesy video with swaying girls in tight clothes, and he's in a big, huge puffer jacket, and there's some car that's like a Hyundai, which is supposed to be really nice for them kind of thing. And it's that mumble rap style that just sounds so boring. Hey, here I'm singing about rapping, blah, blah, blah. His name is either Brillo or Keith. Or maybe both.
Well, maybe as a rap name and a regular name.
Max mentions at one point that later on that this guy's Brillo. So I'm thinking it's Brillo, but he also has a friend Keith who's a rapper that we never see, but he never really talks to Brillo, which I think he would with his friend.
So there's two.
I'm thinking there's two fake rappers here.
Okay, all right, yeah, that sounds like two.
One is Brillo, who we see and we don't like. I don't like.
Right.
And then there's Keith, who loans him some speakers later on, so I kind of like Keith.
All right.
Could Brillo be like slang version of brilliant? Like an Australian-y, almost kind of like, it's like a Brillo. That's Brillo.
I don't know. Could be.
I guess you could say that guy is Brillo, like maybe it's Irish slang. Maybe. I like to think that the rapper, if not, I get to name the rapper. So if you find out that it is,
that's good.
Let me know.
I would like to point out the Irish hip hop entry on Wikipedia is a single paragraph.
I'm sure Brillo and Keith did not make it.
Oh, if he's not Brillo, can he be Scrub Daddy?
Oh, nice.
Yes. Okay. So Flora sees Max looking at the video shoot with some interest, and also at this dancer named Samantha. And so she sees that Max is, he's kind of interested in what's going on there. But that night she has her first lesson with Jeff, and she's more inclined to flirt and drink wine than she is to really learn guitar. He asks why she wants to learn guitar, and she's like, oh, I want to look sexy, have people like me, kind of thing. Eventually, the less serious tone has Jeff just log out of their session. I think it's when she asked him to replay a song with his shirt off. She has to beg for a second chance through a text, and Jeff agrees, but he's like, don't drink wine during the next practice, and she's like, okay. But she does not comply with that rule. I'm just saying, she drinks off camera with him. She always leans off to the side, and at some point he's like, well, what are you doing there? Nothing. But they start to build a connection through music. Flora and Jeff, they talk about their likes and their dislikes with music, the musicians that they like. She says she likes James Blunt's You're Beautiful. He's like, okay, let's try to refine your taste a little bit. He talks about why music is powerful and about the life-changing power of knowing the C chord, and no one can take the C chord away from her now.
Okay.
So from here, Flora stumbles into a singer-songwriter contest at a local pub, and now she kind of has a goal. I'm going to enter this contest.
Right.
So she has, plans are starting to turn. She heads over to pick up Max at his dad's place, and Ian is showing off a music video from Indigo Void. Standard kind of cheesy, just what you expect the video to be.
What can you give us like rough era of when Indigo Void was?
It was probably about when Once was being made kind of thing. It was probably like early 2000s kind of thing. They talked about how the video was supposed to look like it was New York City, but it was just some neighborhood in Dublin.
Right.
And they're like, well, how come the cop is the same person all the time kind of thing? Why is there a cop in every scene? Because it's New York and there's always cops everywhere. So on the way back, Flora and Max actually have the first conversation they have in the whole movie.
What? They're actually child.
They sit there and yell at each other constantly. They're always just at loggerheads. Now they're actually sitting there having a conversation. And he explains why he doesn't want the guitar, because he doesn't like acoustic music. He likes ambient music. He likes electronic. And she talks about her love of dance music. I like Container. I like Orbital. And he's like, well, I like Marconi Union. Have you heard them? They're trance music from Manchester. And so they're talking. They're not yelling at each other. And he's like, well, I have one of their videos on YouTube. Why don't we go look at it? And she's like, oh, no, I have a lesson. Blows him off, goes to does her lesson.
Good
almost had the connection there. But, she has her lesson. She's probably already paid the $20. At this lesson, Jeff plays one of his original compositions.
Get in my car. I drive you through the canyon, breathe in Topanga for the day. And when we reach the ocean and we can't go further west, we'll keep on driving anyway.
And she says, it's lovely, but would she ever want to hear it again?
Damn.
Brutally honest, those Irish.
I guess $20 is $20, man.
Well, but she's right. His song is just kind of there, right? For a guy who's bad-mouthing James Blunt, she's right. More people want to listen to James Blunt than that song. So he assigns her homework to listen to a song, Both Sides Now by Joni Mitchell.
Oh, that's a great song. It's a classic.
And at first she's like, starts to listen to it. She's like, whatever.
Yeah.
She starts to do dishes and everything. And as she starts to listen while she's doing the dishes, you can see her getting more emotional. Like the song is actually kind of reaching her now, showing the power of music, right? Yeah. Obviously just hitting us over the head with it. This song is emotional. You're going to become emotional, but okay, it worked for her. So at one point, Flora comes home and now the house sounds like a dance club, just like music's just blaring.
Mm-hmm.
So she's yelling to Max, turn down this music. What's going on and everything. Turns out Max is mixing a track on GarageBand.
Oh, okay.
He's making his own music. And Keith, his friend who's the rapper, he loaned him these really loud speakers to help him, kind of thing.
Jeebus, Keith, come on.
And so Flora, she comes in and she's like, you hear the loud music. She's already kind of mad. And he's like, I'm just making a song. And she's just like, what are you doing? Show me. And he starts going, well, and it shows.
So they learn that each other want to make music,
right,
and want to write songs.
Exactly.
They didn't really know that about each other before,
but she didn't know that about herself.
Yeah,
she wasn't into music at all.
Well.
But so he's like, oh, it's his GarageBand, and he's actually like demystified how to use it. He's like, oh, you just sample kind of like this, and you kind of do this. And she's like, oh, can you record me? He's like, well, we have to use the mic on my laptop. If I had a better mic, it would sound better. If I had a better keyboard, we could do better music instead of having to push like the keys on the laptop. But this is what it kind of sounds like. And she's like, it's a great song. Do you have lyrics for it? And he's like, yeah, I do. And so he raps his song, Dublin 07.
Come on, girl, you know how much I want you. Like a ghost, I'm going to hunt you. Meet me at my crib, bring your friends. Maybe we can drive a Mercedes-Benz. We'll hang out poolside, have a drink, swimming against the tide, not gonna sink. Come on, girl, let's get in trouble. Shake and not stir the James Bond from Dublin.
And she's blown away, right? It's a fun little rap.
Yeah,
I mean, it's a 14-year-old kid mixing around with GarageBand. His lyrics are,
007's a good title too. It's a funny title.
Well, he's supposed to be the James Bond from Dublin, but it's Dublin 07, not 007.
That's good.
Maybe it's Dublin. Yeah. Oh, Dublin 07. You know what? I got it. The kid's smarter than me. Okay. So immediately she calls Ian. You got to come hear this track. And they immediately then throw a party so their friends could hear 007, hear the track. They just love this song. It's pretty exciting for this kid, right?
Yeah. Well, the kid needs some positive feedback in his life.
So then she goes and has her lesson with Jeff again. And she's like, Jeff, I've been thinking about your song. And I know it's trash, but I think it's salvageable. I think we can fix it.
Oh, now the student is teaching the master.
Exactly. She's like, I think, you need a chorus kind of thing.
She's got a lot of nerve for somebody who's got $20 at a pop. That's all I got to say.
She's like, I wrote some different lyrics that I think you should listen to. And he's like, okay, yeah, I'll definitely listen to it. And we can collaborate if it sounds good. Sure, I'm open to it. So then Flora and Max come across Brillo again, making another dumb video or whatever his name is, Scrub Daddy. Could be anything. And she can see Max, doesn't just have a little infatuation with Samantha. He has a huge crush on Samantha. So Flora and Max work into the night to write and record a song for her because now they have these tools. And they actually have found this connection, this bond.
Wait, they're going to write a song. Oh, she's helping him write a song, a love song to Samantha from him.
Exactly. Okay. And it's called I'll Be the One.
And when you're done with your college, and when you're done with the college boys, when you think you know what the world is, darling, I'll be the one getting educated. So I wanna know everything about you. I'll be the one, 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 I'll be the one.
And she wrote that on their laptop, their MacBook.
Yes.
Using GarageBand.
Yes.
And I believe that they probably used their iPhone as to record some of it. A promotional consideration has been paid by Apple.
Well, it is for Apple TV.
Oh, it is? I did not realize that.
Yes. So anyway,
a lot of itchy backs need scratching there.
Yeah.
So they make this song, I'll Be the One, another little cool rap song that he makes. And Florida's like, okay, send it to her through the email. Just email her the song. Then,
Mom, nobody emails
anymore. Then she's like, wait a minute. I got a better idea. So in the middle of the night, through the next day, they film the video.
Wow.
And so
he loves making movies with videos.
Max gets to be with his iPhone.
Yeah.
Max gets to do all the rapping cliches, kind of thing, sitting on a Mercedes-Benz kind of thing. There's a point where he's in a boxing ring that he's acting like he's boxing kind of thing. Fun, for a 14-year-old.
Yeah.
Great video.
Right, yeah. They wrap up all the shooting to iMovie.
So he gets to be the rap star that he's always dreamed of being. So now he ends up editing the video, and she needs to get her lesson somewhere else because she can't do it where he is.
Right.
So she goes up to the rooftop. And Jeff likes the changes a lot because it's now a duet. It's not his singing anymore. He sings, and then she sings, and then they sing together, and it gives us the song Meet in the Middle.
Forget the stars of Hollywood, big old houses in Bel Air. I can introduce you to the angels of my city, but we'll find them anywhere.
I'll drag you around town by your ear, still ringing from the rain. I'll buy you chips and tea and beer, and then I'll crush your heart again.
Maybe we should meet in the middle.
It's a beautiful little song. He sings about where he is, she sings about where she is, and then maybe they could meet in the middle, find a little place, and call it home. Now, this song's interesting because John Carney and his songwriter partner, Gary Clark,
who we've mentioned before,
from Sing Street, he worked with Eve Houston in Joseph Gordon-Levitt to make it fit their characters better. Because they wrote the song, but they're like, we wanted it to be in your words as well. So in their eyes, it couldn't be just a simple, sweet duet.
Right.
They saw it more like Christy McCall and the Pogues in Fairy Tale of New York.
Such a great song.
They want to be more sparring than singing kind of thing. So they need to have that playfulness, and that's what they got out of the song, where he'll sing a little bit about Los Angeles, she sings about Dublin, and then maybe they can meet in the middle somewhere.
Somewhere over the Atlantic
I think
Ocean.
It might be New York. It might be New York.
I think it's the middle of the Atlantic Ocean.
We'll see. But so they end up talking through the night, at least Dublin time. It's not, where he is now. But they talk about how singing with someone can be sensual and sexy and vulnerable. They talk about their past. They tease about making plans to see each other. They start to build a bond, a relationship, and, have a little crush going.
Mm-hmm.
And this is when Flora decides she wants some time away from Ireland to go to Los Angeles and see Jeff and maybe live her life, because she had a child when she was 17. She's never had a chance to really go out and kind of try to find herself. So she talks to Ian about watching Max for a little bit while she goes off to LA. And he's like, you couldn't have picked the worst time, because the boys of Indigo Void and him are going to start a wedding band. And he doesn't have time for this. So, no.
Okay.
Don't have time. We're having a wedding band. We're Indigo Void. Everybody's, we're big. She talks to a friend of hers, and her friend's like, no, you kind of, it's your own fault for having kids so early. I don't feel like any sort of pity about having to take care of them while you go off and try to find yourself for a month or two. It's crazy. Okay. Hit her with some real,
unforgiving here.
Meanwhile, Max goes to a music store and steals a synthesizer because he needs it to make his songs better. And he gets caught and sent to the station. The cop from the beginning tells Max, you're all out of chances, you're going to go to court, and you're going to go to jail. Sorry, kid. That was the breaks. Flora's upset, asking, why did you do it? He's like, I wanted to re-record that song better. The video they recorded was not well received. Samantha thought it was creepy.
Oh.
So, a court date's set. Flora and Ian talk. Looks like Max is probably going to have to go to a correctional school. Ian says, it's more progressive than it was back in our day. It's almost kind of nice there, and it'll be good for Max and good for us because we can do what we want to do for a little bit and everything. You don't have to feel guilty about going off to Los Angeles and everything. And Flora's like, we just both need to be there at the court to show that both parents are together in his life, because maybe the judge will be lenient.
Right.
So they go to court, but Ian's a no-show.
Damn it.
And Flora leaves the courtroom to call and yell at Ian, like, if he'd only pick up his phone, quit playing video games, you need to be here. She comes back, she peeks in the courtroom, and she sees Max, and, he's all alone, and she can see he's just a little, he's 14. Right. He's, And at that moment, she realizes she's not just some kid with a kid. He's a mom who's about to lose her boy right when they found a way to understand each other.
Right.
So she gets very emotional. Max gets a 8-week sentence in a juvenile correctional facility and 1 year's probation from the judge. Fiona stands up. She's like, are you a mother? Do you know what it's like? And she's like, well, I don't think this is relevant. The judge's like, I don't think it's relevant whether I'm a mother or not. But, I am willing to knock it down to 4 weeks and 1 month. But still, he has to go for a month. Later on, Flora finds the judge at a parking lot and just says, I know you made your decision, but it says through all the paperwork that he can't bring anything personal with him. Is there any way he can bring his music equipment with him? Because this is the one thing that's working.
Right, yeah.
And the judge is like, well, I'll see what I can do.
Okay.
So, yes, he gets to take his equipment with him.
Yay!
And so before I go to lockup, Flora takes Max to that same music store that he robbed and bought him that synthesizer and a new mic, and he got to take it off with him.
Think how much, street cred you get from being in prison for, as a rapper.
Funny you should mention that. Like we used to say back in the day, put a pin in that.
Alrighty.
So now there's another montage during the sentence. You see Max in his room working hard.
Dance version of Jailhouse Rock.
You see Flora's working on music, and she's like talking to Jeff, and then she's like emailing, and you can see Max is looking at the emails kind of thing. They're all kind of like doing music kind of thing. And then you see Flora gets a job as a waitress, and I don't know why they just threw that into the montage, but okay.
All right.
Is that more? I guess it's more steady work for her.
Maybe, I guess.
Like better
it didn't
job.
seem like we needed that part, but hey, throw it in there. That's fine.
We already shot it. Come on, John. Put it in there.
So in a therapy group at the facility, the boys in the group were asked, what was their favorite day? And most of them, I've never had a favorite day in my life. Days are horrible. All this, kind of tough little kids and everything.
I thought you meant like day of the week. Wednesday.
Is Wednesday your favorite day?
Yeah,
Okay.
It's a St. Swithin's Day.
Yeah.
Just what would be your favorite day ever? What did you ever had? And they're all like, oh, it's never been anything good. And Max is like, best day of my life was when my mom and I recorded a music video.
Aww.
Right. He could finally see, things are sinking. Max gets out of prison. He gets a big hug from mom. Run off to the singer-songwriter night.
Oh, it's just that night.
I think so.
Okay.
It's right afterwards. It may have been a couple.
Yeah.
For all I know, it could have been 8 months later.
Okay.
Yeah.
It seems like it's the next scene at least. Flora and Max are there. They were driven there by Ian. Ian's like, well, good luck, everybody. I'm going to find a place to park. They're like, no, you're doing it with us. And he's like, well, I'm a professional bass player. It wouldn't be fair for me to do it. And everything.
Right. It's like, it's like the Olympics. You have to be in an
And Max is like, well, you didn't show up at court, so you kind of have to do this.
Yeah, screw you.
I'm just getting this second hand. I want to punch this guy.
Yeah.
It's so annoying.
And then Ian's like, well, I didn't pack my bass. And Max is like, well, I packed it. It's in the back seat. He's like, okay, I'll be there.
Jeez, you really got to weasel out of this.
And so there they are. They're at the open mic. Now, there's a fun little hippie band playing a song called Strawberry Moon when they get there. And the name of the band is Heart. There's already a band named Heart. You can't pick that.
A big band named
fairly
Heart.
well known.
A very
band.
well
They should know
known
it in Ireland. But then the way the MC announces it, maybe just the lead singer's name is Heart.
Okay.
But still
taken.
It's been taken.
It's taken. It's done.
So
that jersey has been retired, people.
Exactly. So we probably need to rename Heart here.
Yes.
So I'm going to
Cardiac Muscle.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Okay.
So Flora and Son is the name of the band. They're next.
No.
And it is a big band.
How is it a big band?
Well, you have Jeff on guitar and some other dude on drums.
Oh, so Jeff came all the way from L.A.
Via video call from L.A.
Okay.
So you have a little laptop with them hooked up. You have Ian on bass. You have Flora on guitar and vocals. And you have Max, who's also on vocals later. He's doing everything else. He has like drum machines going.
Oh, wow.
He has all the synthesizers.
Dang.
He's doing all the rest. And it's a song about a mom and a son. It's a song by a mom and a son about a mom and a son. And it's called The High Life.
This song's a love song. It's not an apology. But sometimes I hate you, reminding me of me.
Woman, guess we're cut from the same cloth. 14 years in the same block. 9 long months in your belly, down to the coom, and I still wasn't ready. 3 days late, I arrived at the party, smile on me face. You welcome me hearty, back to the gaff and the liberties. Christening party, up with the knees. Girl, we are cut from the same cloth. All you feel, I feel the same loss. I see your eyes in the mirror, saint, angel, devil, sinner. Still laughing at life with our fists up. Still getting our tea down the chip shop. Still tough, tongue sharp as a flick knife. Still here, still living the high life.
Now I'm not living in your life. You're not living in mine. And this song's for all you mothers. We're all gonna be just fine.
Just like that, you see the healing powers of music, how it can bring people together, and any other kind of platitude you may want to. I mean, it is a fun, cute movie. I enjoy it.
Yeah.
Like all these movies, it's fun.
They're
It's
cute.
They're
Yeah,
fun.
yeah.
They're fun. They're cute. They're light. You know.
There is another song that I think they put up for a consideration for the Academy Award that they played over the credits.
Oh, okay.
And it's called Talking to You. It's a song that Jeff wrote about Flora.
If I said purple, you'd say red. With your brown hair tumbling like an unmade bed. And we both died laughing at something I said. Talking to
don't know really. I mean, it's just a simple and sweet song about longing for someone. It's weird that they just did it over the credits, but I guess they didn't want to take away that the story is basically mother and son.
Yeah.
Why make it more difficult?
I guess they kind of had. I guess they had it. They didn't want to shoehorn it into the movie. Into the movie.
Flora and Son and Zoom contact. You know.
So.
And you know, Carney's all about saving some bread, man. So he's like, we're going to use that song. Oh, we're not gonna pay for that song and not use it. Don't worry.
We made it. We like the song. It's going to be in there somewhere. If it has to be in the credits, so help me God, it'll be there. So sweet movie, great acting, great songs. I think you should check it out.
Yeah.
So there you have it. 3 films from John Carney and a lot of Irish bands for us.
I think John Carney's on. He keeps this up. He's on his way into our Hall of Fame for sure. Here,
I would think so.
This might actually count as his entry.
His induction,
And we've talked about most of his movies.
I mean, we talked about 3 of his movies. We mentioned a 4th one, and then he's got a 5th one coming out. These are all music movies.
The Power Ballad comes out.
So
hopefully at the end of this year, I'm sure we'll talk about it more soon.
Yeah. All right. Well, maybe we'll formally induct him on that when that comes out.
Sounds good.
All right.
This has been the Rocklopedia Fake Bandica. I'm Charles. There's Alan.
Pink Hearts.
There's T. Mike.
Yellow moons.
Blue moons. What is it? Clover?
Yellow moons.
Yellow moons. Yellow moons. Damn it.
Thanks for listening. You've been listening to the Rocklopedia Fake Bandica, a production of the Van Gogh Sketch Comedy Group. The hosts are Alan Benson, T. Mike Childs, and Charles Rempel, with occasional cameos from Jason Torchinsky, Galen Black, and Rob Terrell. Our editors are Alan Benson and Charles Rempel. If you enjoyed this, please be sure to subscribe to the Rocklopedia on your service of choice so you never miss an episode. We'd love to hear from you, so leave a review or email us at fakebands@vgg.com. And don't forget to visit fakebands.com and the mothership, vgg.com. Thanks for listening.